All right. Nothing like, here we go. Let's get the party started. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Natasha Tomlinson, your Arizona real estate agent, your Arizona realtor, and welcome to Market Truths and Opportunities in the greater Phoenix metro area. It is October 15th, 2025. Tonight, we are unpacking what is happening in our real estate market right now and what that means. What it means if you're thinking of selling, your home before the end of the year or anytime really in the next 6 to 12 months. We're in the final countdown, right, of 2025. We're in the final quarter of 2025, and the winds, dare I say, the winds are shifting. One second. There we go. Dare I say, the winds are shifting. Interest rates are some of the lowest we've seen in the past 12 months. Seller concessions, well, they're trending again, right? We are seeing the majority of let's say over half of the sales that are happening in 2025 have some form of seller concession. Builders and sellers, they're stepping up and they're helping with closing costs, with interest rate buy downs, with various upgrades and more. And best of all, inventory has increased. You've asked for more homes for sale, and well, you've got it, right? You asked for lower interest rates, and you've got it. You asked for help with closing costs, and you've got that. So right now, the greater Phoenix metro area sits firmly in a buyer's market. But that doesn't mean that sellers are SOL, right? It doesn't mean that sellers are out of luck. There are pockets of opportunity, especially now we're talking about a buyer's market. We're talking about the overall market, right? But we do realize, right, that real estate is local, and it is hyper local at that. So we do see a seller's market in certain parts of the greater Phoenix metro area. And I'm sure you can guess what those areas are, right? Paradise Valley, Fountain Hills, Anthem, Scottsdale, Mirage, Chandler, Gilbert, Avondale. And these areas, yes, there's inventory. And what isn't there a lot of? There isn't a lot of new construction in these areas. And what is important really about these areas is that they're near freeways, they're near large employment sectors, right? So that's part of the reason why they are more desirable, more established neighborhoods, more established landscaping, freeways, jobs markets, things of that nature. So we're seeing that the homes are also well kept and demand is steady in these areas. So tonight, I'm going to break down a few things. One is we will discuss current market truths. What is happening right now? Not what is happening in New York or California or Chicago or Florida, but here in Phoenix Metro. Okay. We'll discuss the 7 mistakes that Arizona home sellers make in 2025. And we'll go over how to avoid those mistakes and walk away with confidence, profit, and peace of mind. Now, quick reminder, if you would like a free, no obligation, 15-minute consultation just to review your goals, right? Because I'm giving an overview here and everyone's situation and goals and challenges are different, right? So I am offering a free, no obligation, 15-minute consultation to review your goals and develop a custom selling strategy. So what I'll do here is I will include that link here in the chat. And I'll include it also at the end of tonight's webinar. There you go. If you'd like to schedule just some one-on-one time to review your real estate goals, we can certainly do that. So let's start with the numbers, okay? As of October 2025, here we are on the 15th, mid-month, right? We're seeing 16 cities in a buyer's market at this point. And you can guess what those cities are. They're the cities really that have both resale and a lot of new home construction, right? So that would be areas like Buckeye, Surprise, areas like, you know, Sun City West, Arizona City, Casa Grande, Maricopa, right? Eloy, Coolidge. These areas tend to be, there's new home construction and there are resale construction as well. So there's a lot for a buyer to choose from in those areas. We've shifted from that multi-offer frenzy that we saw right before the pandemic ended, you know, end of 2020, 2021, 2022, into, dare I say, a normal market. What is normal anymore? But a more strategic market where condition, pricing, and presentation matter more than ever, right? Buyers have more choices, which means that sellers need to be intentional. If you're wondering, is it really a good time to sell? The answer is, it depends, okay? Now, we talked about some truths here, and I'm going to say it depends. If you are looking to push the market, this is not your market, okay? If you are looking for a quick fix and flip, your numbers better be tight and on point, and keep your expenses pretty reined in, because we're not seeing the appreciation to cover any mistakes that you may make in the numbers, okay? So overall, I would say yes, it is a good time to sell if you have a true need to sell, right? Not just to test the market and let's see what happens, sort of a scenario, all right? So my one word answer is yes, if you do it strategically. There's always a caveat, right? But when rates dip, and all reports are saying that we can expect rates to decline, right, in the coming months and coming year, right? I looked at my crystal ball and it gave me a, I don't know, Natasha face, okay? But that's what we're hearing in the news. Time will tell whether that is fact or fiction. But when rates dip and inventory builds, smart sellers make their move before the competition fully returns. Let me tell you a quick story here that kind of illustrates one of the biggest mistakes a seller can make, all right? I would say 6 months ago, right? I met with a home seller, right? They were for sale by owner. Let's call them Linda. And she wanted to sell fast, but didn't want to spend a dime on repairs. And that is her right, okay? On whether she had it or not, that's her right? Didn't want to spend a dime on repairs. We had peeling paint, we had a dated kitchen, we had a roof that needed to be replaced, all which are issues if you choose a buyer that has any type of financing. And the response was, well, the buyers can fix that. The buyers can fix that later. But here's what ended up happening. She ended up on the market for some time, trying to sell it herself, no offers, right? Or as she would call it, low ball investor offers, right? So the buyers that showed up were not the buyers that she had in mind, okay? They were well below asking. One moment. After a while, did a few price cuts, carrying costs in a vacant house, right? So there's not a tenant in place, there's no cash flow. We have negative cash flow. You still have expenses with the home. You have a vacant home, which carries its own risks. Linda ended up netting less money than what she originally thought of, and to the tune of like $25,000 less than she already banked on. She originally had in mind. And had she priced the property appropriately, or at least had an idea of who her end buyer would be, the outcome could have been different. The point in all this is saying that conditions matter, and they matter more now than ever before. In a buyer's market, buyers want move-in ready, okay? Most of today's buyers are not looking for sweat equity. They want move-in ready. So don't let deferred maintenance be the reason that your home sits. If you are unsure what updates or improvements give your property the best return, let's schedule that free 15-minute consultation. And again, I included that in the chat. And you'll walk away with, the top 3 high ROI, the high return on investment updates that can help your home stand out above the rest and stand out immediately. Now, let's talk about the 7 mistakes that home sellers make today. Mistake number 1 would be overpricing the home. And yes, this is the number 1 mistake. And I can hear oh, Natasha, is always about price. Well, isn't it? Pricing based on hope, not data. The market doesn't care what you need. It responds to value and it responds to condition. Overpriced homes get ignored. Correctly priced homes get attention, they get showings, and ultimately they get offers. Pricing at or slightly below today's market value in a buyer's market will create demand. So you won't be chasing demand, you'll be attracting it. Mistake number 2, ignoring the property's condition. We just talked about this a bit, right? Buyers notice everything. All the information is online now. If the paint is peeling, or the AC is old, or the landscaping is non-existent, or just tired, it doesn't have that curb appeal, they'll move on to the next one. A clean, neutral, well-lit home sells faster and for more. 3, poor presentation. You get one chance to make a first impression, and that is online. If your photos are dark and dated, the buyers will scroll right past it. Even simple staging, fresh towels, plants, lighting, it can make a difference on whether you get an offer or not. Mistake number 4, failing to offer buyer incentives. Today's buyers, they almost expect help with closing costs, home warranties, expect help to buy down their interest rate. Offering concessions, it's not losing, it's winning. More attention, more eyes on your property, and ultimately more offers. Mistake number 5, neglecting to work with strategy. Too many sellers they list and they hope they get an offer. But in this market, success takes strategy, understanding buyer psychology, local trends, what today's buyer is looking for, days on market, timing, interest rates, all these factors. This is what helps sellers succeed. And that's what I do. I help sellers every week create a clear step-by-step roadmap to selling with confidence. And if you would like to see what your strategy looks like, be sure to book that call. No obligation. Again, link is in the chat. Let's move on. Mistake number 6. Ignoring the power of marketing. Gone are the days where you get to just throw a sign in the yard and say, well, someone will see it. Today's today's home, really, it needs full exposure. And that is both presentation of the home and in terms of curb appeal, sign in the yard, print advertising, postcards to the neighborhood, flyers in front, or at least a call capture so they can get the information and you can receive the information to ask questions and make sure their concerns are addressed. You also need full digital exposure. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All of these are important factors. Zillow, homes.com, realtor.com, to make sure, again, the folks who live here know about your property and the folks who are moving here know about your property. If your agent is not doing that, and if you're not doing that, if you're trying to sell your house on your own, you're leaving money on the table. Now, waiting too long to act. I get it, right? Timing matters. But hesitation in a shifting market can cost you. It can cost you equity. If you're planning to sell in the next 6 to 12 months, this is your window to start planning. Rates are favorable. Buyers are active. And when the next Fed adjustment hits, and the government will get back to work eventually. We're shut down right now, and we'll learn more about that next. The Fed will meet again and all of that. But right now, it seems like a lot of that stuff is on hold since the government is shut down. But when the Fed makes their next adjustment, things can change relatively quickly. So if you're thinking of selling, now is the time to really start planning. Now, to recap, the greater Phoenix metro market in October 2025 is full of opportunity, right? Rates are low, lowest that they've been all year. Inventory is available, both on the resale side of existing homes, new homes. Buyers are out there looking, studying, seeing what's available, get an idea of the market, their likes, their dislikes, and they are motivated. They're motivated with the right home. And smart sellers, the ones who price right, who prepare and market strategically, they're winning. The 7 mistakes we covered tonight, they are all avoidable mistakes. You can position yourself ahead of the curve, protect your equity, and move confidently into the next chapter of your life. Now, if you found this information helpful, be sure to subscribe to my channel for weekly updates on the Arizona housing market. Like the video and share it with someone who's thinking about making a move. And more importantly, schedule that free, no obligation consultation. Be sure to schedule it. We'll review your goals together. Now, I'll help you understand your numbers, your options, and we can discuss your next best move, whether it's selling now, in the spring, or holding for the future. Let's see. Do we have any questions? We're on a few different places. See if leave some time for questions for everyone here tonight. Aha. All right. What does it mean that we're in a buyer's market? Great question. Great question. A buyer's market means that there are more homes for sale than active qualified buyers, which gives buyers more negotiating power, right? And sellers they may need to offer competitive pricing, concessions, something to attract the attention of those buyers that are out in today's market. It's not bad news. It just means it's not bad news for the seller, right? It just means strategy matters more than ever. Okay? Okay, great. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Lay them on me. What real estate questions do you have here tonight? Okay. How important is home condition in a buyer's market? Okay. Extremely. Does that drive the point home? Home condition is extremely important in a buyer's market. Buyers today, they want move-in ready homes. Okay. Deferred maintenance or visible wear, it can cost you. All right. Even small improvements, paint, lighting, uh, landscaping, right? Decluttering can dramatically improve your sale price and the time you spend on market. And okay, next great question. What if I can't afford it? What if I can't afford to make any repairs before selling? Well, and that very well may be the case. Okay. No, you still have options. Okay. Some buyers and programs, they allow for repair credits or concessions at closing. There are other programs that allow you to do repairs and pay for those repairs at close of escrow. Okay. You can focus on the high ROI, the high return on investment, low cost improvements that make a big difference visually. Okay. And we can go over that in a free consultation, right? I will help you identify what those are, which ones you can get the most bang for your buck. All right. The best return in your price range. Okay, let's see what marketing actually works. Well, effective marketing, it goes beyond just putting pictures in the MLS, okay? And you have to take professional photos. No photos with the phone. Okay, I don't care how good your phone is, all right? You need high quality photography, video tours, digital exposure on social media, on YouTube. You need smart digital marketing, ensures that your property is really seen by buyers that are relocating to the area and area buyers that who live here locally searching online. So you really need a two-prong approach. Let's see, what is the first step if I'm thinking of selling my home in the next 6 to 12 months? The first step is strategy. The first step is a call saying, yes, I want to sell in the near future, right? Whether that be tomorrow, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Okay. And then having that consultation and developing the strategy. During that consultation, again, I help you understand where your value is today, where the market is today in your area. Because like we said earlier, real estate is local. It is hyper local at that, right? And you could be in Phoenix, okay? But we know if you live here in Phoenix, that Phoenix there's downtown Phoenix, there's Arcadia, there's Phoenix by the old Metro Center, Phoenix by the old Paradise Valley Mall, Phoenix by Desert Ridge, right? There's Phoenix up by the upcoming the TSMC. These are all Phoenix, but they're different areas with different things that are happening, different price points, different interest and activity. So we have to look very closely at the area that you're in and see where the values are there and what the market is doing in your area, right? So that's what we go over that during the 15-minute call. We talk about how to position your home and marketing. We talk about potential updates to the home to any curb appeal, whether that's necessary. And we talk about timing. All right, what your goal is, and then when we need to start marketing the property in order to achieve your goal. Right? Oh, let's see. Any other questions? Let's pop up. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So, where does that leave us? Again, we said that we are in a overall a buyer's market here in the greater Phoenix metro area where opportunities exist for buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting for better rates, they're here. If you've been waiting for more homes to choose from, they're here. If you don't want to deal with multiple offers, here we are. And if you've been waiting to have some negotiating power, it's back, right? Arizona's market in late 2025 is not about fear. It's about timing, strategy, and ultimately execution. Remember this, homes in good condition, good location, and good pricing, ultimately they win the race. If you're prepared, patient, and proactive, this market can be your opportunity of the decade. So I wanted to say thank you very much for joining me tonight. I truly appreciate you just taking the time to stay informed about what's happening in our Arizona housing market, because ultimately knowledge is power. And the more you understand your options, the better decisions you can make for yourself and your loved ones. Remember, I host weekly webinars for both home sellers and home buyers right here, right? You can find me right here. Each week, we dive into market trends, creative financing strategies, and real solutions for today's challenges, all designed to help you protect your equity and move forward with confidence. If you'd like to continue learning and staying up to date on what's happening in our local real estate market, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I share real-time updates, expert interviews, and community insights you won't find anywhere else. And if you're ready to talk about your personal goals, whether selling, buying, or simply understanding your options, you can always schedule that free, no obligation 15-minute consultation. I'd love to help you map out your next steps. I'll leave you tonight with one of my favorite quotes, and it's by Henry David Thoreau. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where you should be. Now, put the foundations under them. Thank you again for spending the evening with me. Stay informed, stay inspired, and I'll see you next week.